Welcome, dear listener, to another English listening practice story. Today, we are going to enjoy one of the most popular fables in the world, The Tortoise and the Hare. This story is not only entertaining, but it also carries a very powerful lesson about life, patience, and humility. As you listen, pay attention to the words, the phrases, and the rhythm of the sentences. Try to imagine the story in your mind. Remember, listening is one of the best ways to learn English naturally. When you listen, you hear the correct pronunciation, the pauses, and the flow of sentences. Listening also helps you understand how words connect together. So, let us begin this story slowly and clearly, step by step, in a way that makes learning English both enjoyable and effective. Once upon a time, in a green meadow near a quiet forest, there lived many animals. Among these animals was a hare, a creature famous for being fast, energetic, and confident. The hare could run faster than almost any other animal in the forest. He often bragged about his speed. Bragging means he always talked proudly, sometimes too proudly, about how quick he was. On the other side of the meadow, there was also a tortoise. The tortoise was the opposite of the hare. He was slow, steady, and calm. His legs moved slowly, one step after another, but he never stopped once he started moving. The animals often watched the hare laugh at the tortoise. The hare would tease him by saying things like, "You are so slow, you will never get anywhere." Now let us pause for a moment. Think about the words hare and tortoise. A hare is like a rabbit, but slightly bigger and even faster. A tortoise is like a turtle, but it lives on land and walks slowly. These words may be new for English learners, so repeat them in your mind: hare, tortoise. Can you hear the difference? Excellent. In stories, the hare often represents speed, excitement, and overconfidence. The tortoise represents patience, steadiness, and quiet determination. As you listen to this story, remember that each animal has a character, a personality, just like people do. And the way they act in the story teaches us something important. In fact, that is why this story has been told for hundreds of years, from generation to generation, in many languages, all over the world. One sunny day, the hare was in a very proud mood. He wanted to show everyone how fast he was. He looked at the tortoise, who was walking slowly across the field, and he laughed loudly. "Look at you, slow one," he said. "You are the slowest creature in the world. I could run circles around you. I could reach the forest and come back before you even move a few steps." The tortoise looked at the hare, calm and quiet. He did not get angry. He did not feel insulted. Instead, he smiled a little and replied softly, "You may be fast, my friend, but I am steady. And sometimes, being steady is better than being fast." The hare laughed again, not believing such words. For him, speed was everything, and he thought that nothing could defeat him. This little argument caught the attention of the other animals in the meadow. They stopped what they were doing and gathered around. The birds flew down, the squirrels came out of the trees, and even the fox, who was always watching carefully, came closer. The animals loved to see something exciting. They wondered what would happen next. The hare, still laughing, said, "If you think being steady is so special, then let's have a race. Let's see who can reach the big oak tree at the edge of the forest first. That way, everyone will know who is truly the best." The tortoise thought for a moment. He knew he was slow. He knew the hare could run very fast. But he also believed in himself. He believed in patience, in not giving up, and in staying consistent. So he accepted the challenge. "Very well," he said. "Let's race." The animals became excited. A race between the fastest creature and the slowest one was something unusual, something worth watching. The fox, who was known to be clever, was chosen to be the judge. The fox marked a starting line on the ground and pointed far ahead to the large oak tree. "The first one to touch that tree will be the winner," the fox explained. The hare stretched his legs, ready to run. He smiled with great confidence. The tortoise, on the other hand, simply stood at the line, breathing slowly, ready to begin. The crowd of animals cheered. Some shouted for the hare because they believed he would win easily. Others, though fewer, encouraged the tortoise because they respected his courage. It was a race between speed and patience, between pride and quiet strength. The race was about to begin. The fox raised his paw and said loudly, "Ready, set, go!" The hare immediately shot forward like an arrow from a bow. He ran so fast that the dust rose from the ground. Within seconds, he was far ahead, almost out of sight. The tortoise, meanwhile, took his first step slowly. Then another step, then another. He was far behind already, but he did not stop. He kept moving, steady and calm, without any worry. The hare, looking back, saw the tortoise still at the beginning. He laughed loudly. "This is too easy," he shouted. "I am the fastest animal, and he is the slowest. There is no way I can lose." With this thought, the hare felt even more confident. He started to think of clever ways to enjoy himself during the race, since he believed victory was already his. The hare ran quickly until he was already halfway to the big oak tree. He looked behind him and could not even see the tortoise. The tortoise was so far away that he looked like a tiny dot moving slowly on the ground. The hare laughed again. "What a silly race," he said to himself. "Why did I even agree to this? This tortoise cannot beat me. I am so fast that I can take a break and still win easily." With this thought, the hare slowed down. He noticed a soft patch of grass under a shady tree. The sun was warm, and the gentle wind made him feel sleepy. "Why not rest for a few minutes?" he said. "The tortoise will take forever to reach me. I can close my eyes, enjoy a nap, and still wake up in time to win." So the hare stretched out on the grass, closed his eyes, and quickly fell asleep, dreaming of victory and laughter. Meanwhile, the tortoise continued his journey step by step. He did not worry about the hare. He did not think about winning or losing. His only focus was to keep moving forward, no matter how slow, one step, then another, then another. The tortoise believed in his steady pace. He knew that if he just kept going without stopping, he would eventually reach the oak tree. The other animals watched carefully. Some of them shook their heads, thinking the tortoise had no chance. Others admired his patience. "He may be slow," whispered one bird, "but look at his determination. He never gives up." Step by step, the tortoise moved past the halfway point. The hare was still asleep under the tree, snoring loudly. The tortoise passed quietly without disturbing him, and the journey continued. The lesson of patience was already beginning to appear before the eyes of the animals. The tortoise's slow progress might seem boring at first, but in fact, it was powerful. Every step showed his commitment. He was not distracted by pride, not tempted by laziness, and not worried about what others thought. His focus was only on moving forward. This is an important lesson for us as English learners too. Sometimes, when we study a new language, we feel slow. We compare ourselves to others who may learn faster, but just like the tortoise, slow and steady progress will lead us to success. Every new word learned, every new sentence practiced, is like another step toward the oak tree of fluency. So, while the hare slept comfortably, the tortoise gave us an example of patience, discipline, and quiet strength. The other animals began to whisper among themselves. Could it be possible? They wondered. Could the tortoise actually win this race if the hare does not wake up soon? Time passed. The hare slept deeply, dreaming of crossing the finish line and hearing the animals cheer for him. He felt safe because he trusted only in his speed. But the tortoise was slowly moving closer and closer to the oak tree. The crowd of animals began to follow him, amazed by his determination. Some animals even started to cheer. "Go, tortoise, go!" they shouted. "Don't stop! You can do it!" The tortoise did not rush or change his pace. He simply kept walking the way he always did. His eyes were fixed on the tree, his heart calm, and his mind focused. The journey was long, but he did not lose hope. With every small step, he got nearer to the finish line, while the hare still slept in comfort, unaware of what was happening. Finally, the sound of cheering reached the hare's ears. He moved a little, opened one eye, and noticed something strange. The tortoise was not at the starting line anymore. He was not far behind either. Instead, the tortoise was already approaching the oak tree. The hare jumped up in shock. "What? How is this possible?" he shouted. "I was supposed to be the winner. How could that slow creature come this far while I was resting?" Panic filled his heart. He realized that his pride and laziness had cost him precious time. Quickly, he began to run as fast as he could. His legs moved like the wind. Dust rose behind him. He pushed himself harder and harder, hoping to reach the tortoise before it was too late. The tortoise, however, kept his steady pace. He was now only a few steps away from the oak tree. The crowd of animals grew louder with excitement. They had never seen such a surprising moment before. The hare was running with all his strength, but the tortoise was already too close to the goal. "Go, tortoise! Go, tortoise!" the animals shouted again. The tortoise did not turn his head to look at the hare. He did not rush, because rushing was not his way. Instead, he simply kept moving the same way he always had. One step, then another, and finally his hand touched the oak tree. The race was finished. The tortoise had won. The meadow filled with cheers, laughter, and surprise. The slowest creature had defeated the fastest one. The hare arrived just a moment later, breathing heavily, his heart filled with regret. He looked at the tortoise and then at the cheering animals. His pride was gone. His face turned red with shame. He realized that he had lost not because the tortoise was fast, but because he himself had been careless. The tortoise, calm as always, simply smiled and said, "Slow and steady wins the race." The animals repeated the phrase again and again. "Slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady wins the race." It became a lesson for everyone who had watched. From that day on, the hare no longer bragged about his speed, and the tortoise became a symbol of patience, persistence, and quiet strength. The story spread from one animal to another, and later from one person to another, until it became one of the most famous fables in the world. The story of the tortoise and the hare is not just about animals. It is about human life, human habits, and human choices. The hare represents people who rely too much on their natural talents. They may be gifted, quick, or intelligent, but sometimes they become careless because they think success will always be easy. The tortoise represents people who may not look impressive at first. They may not be the fastest, the smartest, or the most talented, but they succeed because they are patient, steady, and consistent. Life is full of races, and many people fail not because they are weak, but because they stop halfway. Others succeed not because they are the strongest, but because they never give up. This is the timeless truth of the story. Steady effort is more powerful than natural talent when talent is not combined with discipline. For English learners, this story is even more meaningful. Many people want to learn English quickly, like the hare running at top speed. They look for shortcuts, fast tricks, or instant methods. But language learning is not a race that can be won with speed alone. It is like the tortoise's journey, slow, steady, and step by step. Every new word you learn is like another step forward. Every sentence you practice is like another step toward fluency. Sometimes you may feel slow, but remember the tortoise, he was slow too, yet he reached the finish line because he never stopped. So do not be discouraged if progress feels small. Small progress, repeated every day, creates big results over time. Just like the tortoise, you will surprise yourself and others if you remain steady. Let us look again at the famous line, "Slow and steady wins the race." This line is short, simple, and easy to remember, but it is also very powerful. Slow means not rushing, not forcing. Steady means consistent, regular, dependable. To win the race means to reach your goal, to achieve success, to complete what you started. Repeat this sentence slowly in your mind. Slow and steady wins the race. This sentence is not just advice for a story, it is advice for life. If you use it every day, it can guide you in work, in study, in relationships, and in personal growth. It reminds us that discipline is stronger than pride, and persistence is stronger than laziness. The hare learned an important lesson that day. He realized that arrogance and overconfidence can destroy even the greatest advantage. If he had respected the tortoise, if he had stayed focused, he would have won. But he laughed, he bragged, and he slept. His mistake is the mistake many of us make in life. We sometimes stop working hard because we think we are already ahead. We sometimes relax too much when success is near, and we lose what we almost had. The tortoise teaches us the opposite: to remain humble, to stay focused, and to never stop until the finish line is reached. These lessons are not just for children, they are for adults, for workers, for students, and yes, even for English learners. Imagine yourself as the tortoise in your English journey. Every day you listen, every day you repeat, every day you practice. At first, you feel slow. You may compare yourself to others who speak faster. But then, step by step, you notice progress. You understand more words. You can form longer sentences. You feel more confident. And one day, just like the tortoise, you will look back and realize how far you have come. The people who rushed, like the hare, may have given up because they wanted quick results. But you, the steady learner, will reach fluency. This is why listening practice, like what you are doing now, is so important. It trains your ears, your memory, and your confidence, step by step, just like the tortoise walking toward the oak tree. So, dear listener, let us end this story with gratitude and encouragement. You have listened to the famous fable of the tortoise and the hare. You have not only heard an entertaining story, but also learned a valuable lesson about patience, humility, and persistence. Remember the words, slow and steady wins the race. Apply them to your English learning. Do not be like the hare, rushing at the beginning but losing at the end. Be like the tortoise, moving slowly, steadily, and surely until you achieve your goal. Each time you listen, each time you practice, you are taking another step. One day you will touch your own oak tree, the finish line of fluency. Thank you for listening, and may this story stay in your heart as both a lesson and a motivation for your journey.